I'm fucking done.
Welcome to this episode of Tales from the Void podcast. I bring you your glorious hosts.
Sean?
Hi, I'm Josh.
That's Sean and Josh, and I'm Mike. Let's rock and roll. All right, so anybody do anything crazy fun this week?
I had a crazy long week. Lots of fun stuff going on. Starting Thursday, I went to see Pearl Jam. Amazing show. Those guys are up there, but they're still rocking it. Friday, went with this fellow and many other fellows to go see Henry Rollins.
That was a really good show. I told Mike earlier that Rollins was good because it wasn't amped up to be one of the best stand-ups ever, so I wasn't let down by the content that was there because it started at 9 and we got out at 11:30?
Yeah, and I believe I sold it to you as it was definitely going to be, storytelling versus just a comedy show. He wasn't going to get up there and just tell one-liners and things like that. He would work comedy into it, but it was just going to be his experiences, his stories of whatever he felt like saying.
One of my favorite parts, and it wasn't even any of the content he was talking about, it was the fact that he stayed in this little pocket on stage for 2.5 hours. So if he were to do a demo of him running or he was jumping towards something, he moved maybe 2 feet, but always kept his right foot planted.
Oh, that's excellent.
And then he stood there, he had the cord wrapped around his arm like he was singing in a concert for Black Flag, and he was just right there in your face the whole time. It was a really good show, and he was really engaging despite the fact he wasn't moving at all.
An amazing show, and you get such entertainment out of the smallest things.
Yeah.
That's why I like you, friend. And then Saturday, I believe we were all at the same Halloween party.
We were. But before we do that,
Yes,
I'd
sir.
like to hear a little bit more about that Pearl Jam concert.
Yes, sir. What do you want to know? I'll tell you anything. You want to know? You want to know the minute marks when I was crying?
Give me no. Give me the dirty, gritty details, though. That seems like it'd be a really sweet show to go to.
It is, because it's much like Rollins. That was just your experience with Pearl Jam. There's no openers. They go on. They'll play 30+ songs. They played 2.5 hours, maybe even close to 3 hours. And then
Wow.
They do. What I love about seeing them is that they will serve you a good heaping of their hits, the songs that everyone wants to go see them play. And then they'll play whatever they feel like. They will play the tracks, like track 9 off of their 5th album that nobody expected to hear.
That's awesome. I do like that a lot. Pearl Jam, some of their really good music actually isn't aired that heavily.
No, yeah, and I'm, you guys, everyone knows, I believe, listening, I'm kind of a mark for Pearl Jam. I love them, so all of that obscure stuff that they play, I love.
I thought your name was Josh. Well, I had that wrong.
All right.
So, and also the Henry Rollins thing. So it wasn't really stand-up. It was more of a tale-telling.
Correct.
Yeah, verbal autobiography, if you will, because he told the story of how he first got into Black Flag, I can't remember exactly how it went, and Josh, correct me if I'm incorrect, he went to...
Get ready to correct him.
It's going to happen. He went to New York to a concert or something like that. They were setting up early for a show. And, no, that's not right either. Do you remember that story?
His first time singing with them?
Yeah, he mentioned the 90-second song of his they sang, or theirs.
Yeah, he went to New York to go see them, and they were all set up to play and everything, and he had to leave early. So
oh, that's right.
They were just just get up here. What song you want to sing, man? Get up here and sing it. And he
really,
did it.
that's how he got his start with Black Flag.
Yeah, and then he was at his job when he got the call to do the audition, and he really didn't even have to audition.
Right. They were, he was at his job. And I mean, he had been friends with the band prior to, so, it wasn't just hey, dude in the crowd, come up on stage. He'd seen him so many times that he kind of became friends with him, so.
And maybe they knew of his talents.
No, from what it sounded like, that was the first time they really heard him sing for the band, or anything for that matter.
And then they had auditions, and he went and bailed on his job for a couple days and went and auditioned with them, and they were just like, dude, you're in Black Flag if you want to be.
My favorite part of the show was his story about helping out and how it was more important to help all the way rather than just a little bit. The example was when he went to Haiti and he was like, hey, is there anything we can do to help out? And he talked to this guy and the guy was like, yeah, we need soap and soccer balls. Well, that's fine. So him and his buddy went into town, got soap and soccer balls, brought them back. And these kids came up and pulled the soccer balls from their hands and went and played. The adults of this place went and got the soap. They went ahead and just started, one guy would have like 10 bars, one lady wouldn't have any. It became chaos. Well, come to find out, there's like a village leader or a chief or a priest or whatever you want to call them. And they got really, really pissed at Henry and his friend. And what they had to do was talk to him so the guy could hand him out. And Henry went, how can I make this better? I want to make this right. He's that kind of guy. So he goes, come back to, let me get some more soap and soccer balls, come back tomorrow. And the guy's like, fine, but talk to me first. Goes and gets soap and soccer balls, comes back. They give it to the priest, chief leader, whatever. And the guy picks out one kid to get the soccer balls because come to find out, the kids that took the soccer balls in the beginning were selling them down the street for money.
Corruption.
So there were like pack leaders that knew how to toe the line. So he'd give that kid the soccer ball and then they'd go play. He would give this person a soap bar and then that guy had to go. He'd give the girl a soap bar and he had to go. And then he told Henry to get out and never come back.
Wow.
Yeah, and the whole moral of it was if you're going to help, be prepared to help all the way. And I love that part of it. That was my favorite part of the show.
My favorite thing really with him, it's just kind of funny that what he always expresses and what he said quite a few times even during the show was basically hold back on your judgment. There's too much judgment on like other people, and several of the stories that he told involved like he was going into something thinking it was going to be this or these people were going to be this way, and they just completely blew him away. So he said, basically don't judge people, and it's just awesome coming from him because how many people would look at him and judge him for how he looks, his past, and all of that. I think that's incredible.
Yeah, he definitely has the look of a guy who's done some things in life. And, of course, I mean, I unfortunately did not make it to that show, and I kind of wish I had because just a brief run of my history with Henry Rollins is just basically a couple of movies. Really, I didn't know he...
and probably terrible movies.
Yeah, not the best. But I didn't know he went around and did a lot of this stuff. And except I did see a YouTube video of him once where he was doing some positive speaking and talking about, life-changing events. That's really super good, especially coming from celebrities. These days I feel like some of them are more open than others when it comes to a lot of this, being more positive with humanity, helping, things like that, where before I feel like they were a lot more aloof, like unreachable, and didn't seem like actual people in a way.
Yeah, definitely. And he even does, another thing that I love is he even does it on a lot smaller of a scale as well. Like a lot of his stories too that he'll tell are just like communication with fans. People that will write to him, and reach out to him via either email or social media or whatever. He gets back to a lot of them. He writes back to a lot of his fans, and that's a lot of his, very touching stories that he tells is dealing with fans on a very personal level.
Remember the Al Green story?
I do.
He got in contact with this kid from Utah who was not allowed to have music, and Henry was like, "All right, I'm going to send you this file of MP3s and listen to it, just take a listen." So the kid's listening to it and giving him the feedback of the stuff, and one of the tracks was an Al Green song. And Henry said the kid wrote to him, he goes, "Mr. Rollins, I really appreciate all you've done for me, and I love the tracks, but I just cannot support this Al Green guy." He looked into him and found out Al Green had hit his wife.
Oh.
And Henry Rollins didn't know this. And he said that because this kid found this information out and he looked into it, it changed how he looked at the artist forever. And up to that point, Al Green had been one of his favorite jazz composers.
Wow.
Every time I've seen Henry Rollins, he talks about Al Green. He really loves his music. And yeah, he said he didn't throw the records out yet, but he didn't know what to do.
One of my favorite Rollins quotes is actually... he says that I believe that one defines oneself by reinvention, to not be like your parents, to not be like your friends, to be yourself. to cut yourself out of stone. So basically putting in your work, being a good person, not being like your parents, not being like your friends is a challenge to be an individual.
Yeah, so that's an amazing quote, and that definitely kind of defines what kind of person he is, really.
Yeah. All right. Well, how about that Halloween party Saturday? We met up with some friends, of course. Met up with some friends. Best way to describe it when someone's licking your ear at a Halloween party.
He snuck up on you too.
He did.
You didn't even get to see that.
You may as well call him family at that point.
Yeah. Wow, what kind of family what kind of family are you in? That's outstanding. No, we got to see a plethora of our good friends, and that was really enjoyable. Saw a lot of sweet costumes.
We had some amazing food.
Oh my God, the food was so good. We got to see at least one member of our.
I mean, I don't know if you guys got to see it, but I got to see a lightsaber duel.
Yeah, no, I saw the lightsaber duel.
Oh yeah, Obi-Wan kind of took a cheap shot.
Aw.
Obi-Wan did take a cheap shot. Actually, a funny story. One of our brothers and friends, Mr. Chris, did do an overhead slice with his lightsaber and hit the garage door rail, at which point Obi-Wan took advantage and hit him in the neck.
I feel like that's what you got to do.
That's a Sith move.
And yeah, it really is. A Jedi move would have been a force push out of the garage into his driver's seat, help him get home.
Yeah.
That would have been a Jedi
Buckle
move.
him up and start the car.
Yeah.
It was cold out. It should be. That car needs to be warm.
Hey, like Rollins said, when you help all the way.
That's
Okay?
right.
Don't half-ass the help. So if you guys could get an app for your phone, because I know you all have iPhones, if you can get an app for your phone that could do anything, what would it be, Josh?
You know, people are going to think that we're just beyond pro Apple here because anytime we bring this up, we specifically mention iTunes, iPhones, Lenovo, Apple 7s.
It's
Pro
Pro
Apple
Apple 7, dude.
I'm
I'm
so
running
sorry.
iOS 17 on this bad boy.
I'm sorry. My app, it would be, you know, I'm sure everyone deals with this, and I say this in a loving and nice way, but my thought was if I could have an app that would just check my pulse and make sure that I was alive every single morning and send some kind of message to my parents to let them know that I am, in fact, still alive on that day, I would appreciate that. Do you guys, no one has to deal with that?
I mean, at that point, aren't you the app?
No, but, you know.
He's like, he wants an automatic app message sent.
We all, I believe all three of us, and I've been in conversations in the vehicle with Mike where he's talking to his parents. It's not like, hey, how you doing? Everything's going good. Okay, talk to you later. There's like a 45-minute to an hour conversation about nothing important at all. Love my mom to death,
Thanks
too.
a lot, man.
Love my mom to death, too, but, you know, we talk 3 times a week, and it's like 45 minutes to an hour each time. There's a lot of dead air.
You got to set time aside.
I try to do it while I'm driving home from places, when I'm watching something on TV, or I'm doing work on the computer.
It's just, you know, the worry warts out there, you know, of parents. Like maybe not even necessarily that it would do it just once in the morning, but maybe something that they could control on their end. So they're like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Is my son still alive? Let me open the app and it will check him.
So this whole app idea is not necessarily because you want your parents to know you're alive. It's so that your parents.
I'm thinking of them, Mike.
So your parents don't phone you every 3 minutes. Is that what the deal is?
It really just sounds like he should activate the child tracker on his phone and get it for his mom. So then she could just pop it open and be like, oh, he's at Starbucks.
Sean just solved your conundrum, my friend.
I don't want that.
And what if he dies at a Starbucks?
Yeah, what if I die? What then?
What if he's in line for his Chilada cool frappe venti and he dies? Then what?
Well, when his mom looks on his phone and sees that he's been there for 14 hours.
It's fine. That's normal.
That's typical Josh.
That's true.
Typical
That's
hangout.
true. Oh, wait, if it wasn't Tuesday, I would freak out.
That's true. It depends on the day.
Yeah.
Really. I think mine's kind of in line with that. Just the whole being alive thing. Scanning for injury, like Star Trek style.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, right? So you could hold the phone up over, let's say you sprained your ankle and you want to make sure it's not that serious of a deal. Like, say you're out paintballing and you really jack your stuff up. You could take your phone and just pass it over the area once, let the program read.
A little self-diagnostics.
Exactly. So things it could take now, for instance, they have heart rate monitors on the iPhone as apps that actually look at the color change in your skin to tell you what your heart rate is. So I feel like that could tell you how inflamed the area can get, stuff like that, just on the basics. But if we're talking future tech, you could even have maybe a device that can scan the area and tell you if you have a torn ligament, a broken bone, that kind of thing. Almost like an X-ray glasses. That's the picture I have in my mind, that you'd get an X-ray glasses type image.
I like it, and I would look forward to the sound effects that thing could make.
I'd want it to sound just like a tricorder because it's just like a tricorder.
And I don't want it to scare you too much. Like if you just have a little, if you just have a little boo boo, then it just gives you some kind of like lovely little sound effect. Like, oh, nothing to worry about.
Right.
See, that was my question. Would it be like WebMD, where you just scan your knee and it's like, oh, you have knee cancer?
You have knee cancer immediately. Anything you look up, well, pardon me, anything Sean looks up on WebMD is telling him he has cancer. I don't even go into specifics, but the one time with the poop, we all know about that.
Oh, man.
His poop is funny.
Do I get to tell this story?
Do you? Yeah, please.
I had just started working out, and my diet had changed, and I was eating a lot of meats and proteins and stuff like that.
Josh knows.
And I'm in the bathroom, and I'm taking a shit. So I get done, and like every man does, you get up and you take a look. You take a look to see what you got.
Take a picture even sometimes.
Sometimes I should start sending you guys some of these pictures. They're pretty good. They coil up like snakes.
Snapchat.
Please don't.
So anyway, I see this glorious log, and there's this white chunk at the end, and I'm like, what is...
That's the cork, bro.
That's the cork, brother. And I'm like, what is this? This is really weird. So I flush and go about my day. 2 days later, same thing happens. I'm like, all right, this is something inside me that's not right. So I look it up on WebMD, and it's every form of cancer known to man. It's either like colon cancer or stomach cancer. My digestive system has cancer. My cancer has cancer.
His cancer's doubled down.
So I'm freaking out. I'm losing my mind. So I Google it. That was mistake number 2. I had to go to like page 10 to find out that when you change your diet, all the fats get processed first, but they don't digest. So just like when corn comes out, same deal.
Oh, God.
The fat from steak and stuff will come through as is.
That is awesome.
And so gross, but thank you for telling that story.
Anytime.
So basically, Sean would have been able to scan his turd and find out he's not cancerous.
Yeah, I got so scared.
That's pretty awesome. Sean, do you have one?
I do not.
Josh's face is priceless right now.
No, I thought about it, and there's nothing I would immediately want now that could make my life easier.
Well, it doesn't have to be about that. It could be about making...
Something you like?
It could be about making other people's lives easier.
I don't give a shit about other people.
Damn.
If it's not benefiting me and the people around me...
He's not telling the truth.
Yeah.
This is not the Sean I know.
Yeah, if it's not benefiting me and the people around me, I don't want it.
The guy who was just telling the turd story, that's the Sean I know.
That's the Sean.
That's the Sean I know. So is there a more recent or obscure / indie movie that or show that you guys really enjoyed that you'd like to share with other people?
A movie, yeah. I could share one. It's a little depressing, but I'll share it if you want me to.
I really want you to.
All right. I would definitely call it an indie movie because I'm sure no one has heard of it. And I don't even know that it got a theatrical release, but it's called About Alex.
Okay. Is it about cancer?
I'm going to have to pull up the IMDb if you want any actors named in it because I don't remember their names at all. But no, it's not about cancer. It's not about turds. It is about suicide. Actually, really, it's about friendship is really what it's about.
Okay.
The story essentially starts off with this guy just sitting in his bathtub, sends out a tweet that basically says something like, I don't know, when you find me in the morning, I will be, I forget what he said, basically saying that he would not be around anymore. So he attempts suicide, and all of his close friends get word of it, and they all decide to like get together. They haven't seen each other in years, and go to his house and be there when he gets released from the hospital, and just kind of be there for him and be around. And in this time, you know, you just kind of basically play catch up with these friends and their relationships and their past, and helping their friend, you know, move on from this.
Do they catch up through flashbacks?
No flashbacks.
Really?
It's actually really cool. I think actually the very last scene in the movie is the only flashback, and it's of them meeting Alex, the guy who tried to commit suicide. It's when they very first met him in college, and that whole clique, that whole group was already together, and they asked him to sit down and have lunch at the same table as them. That was like the one and only flashback, and it's the last scene in the movie.
Wow.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, you ruined that movie for me.
Sorry.
No. I'm actually, I'd actually consider watching that one. Sounds good.
There's even an Apple joke in there for all you guys, because one of the girls is named Siri.
Oh, outstanding. Is there a laugh track?
Jeez, no.
I can put one in.
Sean will re-edit the movie into something horrifying. But no, it sounds super, super interesting. I'd like to check that out. Sean, do you have...
Mike actually brought this movie down last week, but filth. With James McAvoy.
With Charles Xavier.
With Chucky Xavier, yes.
The 224-mile movie.
Yeah, the movie. And I know I said it wasn't worth the 224 miles, but when you get to rent it on iTunes or watch it online, it's worth it. James McAvoy plays a detective who is trying to become a captain. And he's just the shittiest cop on earth. He's taking money from people. He's framing people. And on his way to becoming a detective, he tries to set up the other guy that's in line for the promotion as well. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out for him. And when that doesn't work out for him, he starts to slip. All of the things he's doing incorrectly have now come to light, and he starts going insane. So there's a part in the beginning where it shows this woman getting beaten by a group of dudes. Flash forward to the end, you find out that it was actually McAvoy going undercover under just this big drug-induced idea.
Whoa.
He, in fact, gets his ass kicked by this group of guys.
Wow. Is he dressed like the lady, or who's the lady?
Yeah, no, you find out at the end that this woman in the beginning that got beaten up was actually James McAvoy.
Wow.
Trying to catch the leader of the gang that beat him up.
Super convincing female then?
Absolutely terrible. I mean, in the beginning, they're kicking him and laughing, and, you know, they're showing this girl on the camera, and you're like, why would they laugh at her? Well, it's James McAvoy dressed up as a woman.
Ah.
So, of course, you're going to laugh. I laughed a little bit.
Yikes.
Yeah. Yeah, meanwhile, Josh is over here eating a pound cake.
Oh, it's so good.
He's just biting into that pound cake like a rabid dog. Mine would be Hot Rod with Andy Samberg. That would be my obscure /
Say what way?
Say what way?
I like this because this is two movies you guys get to talk to me about, and I've never seen either of them.
Whiskey.
You've never seen oh man.
Tell me. Hot Rod it all over me.
Well, we're gonna need a towel. Hot Rod's awesome, man. It's a great comedy. It's hard to explain. It's a guy who's believed all his life that his father, his real father, was a stuntman who did all of Evel Knievel's stunts before Evel Knievel did them to make sure they were safe.
Of course.
And his mom's, of course, recently she's moved on. She's married another man, and they have a son together. So he's jealous of the interaction between this father's son and him, right? Because he doesn't have that. So he's constantly trying to earn his stepdad's respect. And the way he does it,
by fighting him.
Mano a mano in the Ring of Fire. They just go through these UFC brawls. I think the very first one's probably my favorite. But anyway, he fights him, and then they find out he has he needs surgery, otherwise he's gonna die, and they have to raise $50,000.
Mr. Hot Rod himself is
No,
gonna die.
no,
his
stepdad.
His
Oh, the stepdad,
stepdad.
okay.
And then so they go through this hilarious training montage, and yeah, it's a great movie, man. You should check it out. The safe word is whiskey.
Why are you saying it that way?
Why am I saying what? What way? It's Sandberg's probably finest. It's his finest piece of work.
My favorite moment in that film, and for those who have not seen it, will be glad to know that Isla Fisher plays the female love interest.
That she does.
And they're out doing yoga. Was it yoga or something?
It was
along
Tai Chi
Oh, they were out doing Tai Chi
by the lake, and a really scenic.
Yep. And she's doing all these sweet moves, and Sandberg's like, I thought you were going to teach me the heavy stuff. And something came up about this super secret move that makes you shit your pants.
Yeah, he's like, isn't there a move that can make someone shit their pants?
And it's this awesome combination of like chops and slaps, and they make you end up shitting your pants. So she throws it on Sandberg,
Oh yeah.
and then at the end when he throws it on,
Not quite the heart exploding palm thing. What is it called from Kill Bill?
Yeah. No, it's that move. It's the
I-
Kill Bill move.
but you shit
But
your
it
pants.
but you shit your.
Oh,
Yeah.
And she hits him with it because he asked for it, and he starts walking away real slow with those legs pressed together. And he's like, "Well, you showed it to me, and it didn't work. So I'm just gonna go home." And she's like, "You wanted me to show it to you." He's like, "You did, and it didn't work." So, but the movie's hilarious. It's worth a watch for many reasons, but mostly because you have a group of guys who are hilarious. So
I'll check it out.
you need to check that out.
You guys write down my suggestion. Get it down.
I already wrote it down and threw it away. That's how quick I decided on that movie.
It's sitting
thank
on my
you.
computer right
I'm kidding.
now.
I'm kidding. Yeah, Sean is pirating that film as we speak.
Already, I've had it for weeks.
All right, as we all know, I'm having a son.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Mazel tov.
Thank you, Sean, Pastor Sean. My beautiful wife's due in December, but just thinking about this next generation, the children who are being born now and who will be born soon. Of course, I'm voting on. I'm hoping that you guys get on that train soon, so we can have little cousins for baby Joseph.
I very much want to be on that train or someone. I'm going to stop myself there. Please continue, Mike.
No, someone can be the train. That's perfectly fine. What would you like to see passed on, or what parts of you would you like to pass on? And, what parts of the culture that we have right now, geekery, nerdery, what kinds of things do you want to see passed on to the next generation and preserve?
Yeah, all sorts of stuff that we're into, obviously. Kind of a little bit what we've talked about before, and it's been a hot topic with us lately. Music. It's just so much music. I would love to make sure that gets passed on and carried on, and even specifically
Good music.
my physical CD collection. Not just like everything by that time may be digital, but yeah, like here's my record collection. If we're talking about my son, if we're gonna go off into character traits or parts of humanity, that's a whole nother discussion.
Well, I mean, why not? Why not do that as well? I think it's cool that you're talking about passing music on, because some of my earliest memories were sitting with my dad's cousin Joe, and we'd sit in his room, and he'd invite me into his room, and I always thought this guy was the coolest. He had the Firebird, the old school Firebird with the actual bird on the hood that was really sweet. He introduced me to Led Zeppelin, blew my mind, and he actually pulled a vinyl and put it in the record player, and we sat down on shag carpet and just listened to the music. It was awesome.
You got to make sure they get started right, man. Here's some Zeppelin. Here's some Ramones.
Oh yeah, easily.
Here's some Taylor Swift.
and the 8-year-old girl chimes in. But no, music's super important, man. Those are words of a generation being passed down. So that's actually really super deep thing.
I was gonna say music, and if we're gonna jump right back into the other stuff, the heavier stuff.
Yeah.
If I could get a little deep, a little touchy, I definitely say love, empathy. all things that you just wanna. That's gonna create really the best little human.
Well, I think that's outstanding because as you get older, and I think we've been through that, when you get older, you're jaded by your experiences. Making sure that your kid understands or has a base, like a really good foundation for caring for others, caring for animals, stuff like that. Things that are important to preserve this place we're living in. Yeah, super deep, but awesome. So that is actually a great point.
Thank you.
Yeah, Sean.
My thing isn't so much physical because generations from now I'll be able to look up the Ramones on the internet, be able to look at comic books on the internet. I've always wanted to pass down something more personal, more deep, and that's just the desire to learn. I unfortunately went through middle school, high school, and the year and 3 months of college I went through not wanting to learn at all. I didn't care. In my mid-20s, my later 20s, that's all I want to do now. And I feel bad because I was that kid in school and in life where if somebody didn't know something I knew, I was always like, you didn't know that? How dumb are you?
Right.
And I learned the hard way that deters somebody from wanting to learn.
Absolutely.
Nobody knows everything, and that's the one thing I try to remember. And I even slip up every now and then. I'll be like, how could you not know that? And I feel terrible when I do say something like that.
No, and that's actually awesome. I love that. That's what you thought of when we were going to talk about this. But yeah, kind of playing off your point there is to maybe definitely make sure that it's something that they would want to learn, something that they're interested in learning about, and not be afraid to maybe pursue that.
Yeah.
And I'm totally going to paraphrase here, but Neil deGrasse Tyson has stated more than a few times that, you have these kids and they're growing up and they get yelled at constantly. Don't touch that. Don't do this. And, they'll pick, flowers off of stems and just kind of like be jerks about it. And he's like, you're constantly yelling at them. Put something in front of them. Put a pair of binoculars there. Set a telescope down. Let them play. Let them look at something and try to figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's sharing with them without forcing them in a position. Mine would be a sense of wonder or curiosity. And as defined, sense of wonder is a feeling of awakening or awe triggered by an expansion of one's awareness of what is possible or by confrontation with the vastness of space and time as brought on by reading science fiction. So for me, the importance of a sense of wonder comes from me falling in love with this whole science fiction and the atmosphere of space and the universe and our place here. I want that to be passed on, and I'm going to make sure it is within my wheelhouse. I have a really cool telescope, so I want to make sure that I pass that sense of wonder on and nurture it. That's the big deal. I don't want to kill it at any point.
Playing along the lines of the sense of wonder, I went into a magic shop last Thursday on 14 Mile and Main Street, I believe. And I walked in, and I'm looking around, and the guy goes, do you want to see a magic trick? Of course I do.
Were you in there alone?
Yeah. What does that have to do with anything?
Well, has a lot.
I'm looking forward to this story.
Oh, I had my pants on, all right? One of the few times. So I go into this magic shop. The guy at the counter is like, hey, do you want to see a magic trick? I'm like, hell yeah, I do. So he pulls out a dollar bill. He pulls out this pen, and he's like, see how this pen writes? He gives it to me. I write on my hand. I had the mark on my hand until Saturday when I finally showered. And
outstanding. You, sir, are the marathon runner of not showering.
You sat next to me at Rollins unbathed.
you took that seat. I gave up the seat I had for other people. You took the next one.
Outstanding.
I was being a friend.
Friends helping friends.
Takes the pen, runs it through the dollar bill, pulls it back out, hands me the dollar bill. I feel up and down the dollar bill. The hole's there.
Okay.
The hole is in the dollar bill. This is blowing my mind. This guy's a demon.
Right.
So he takes the dollar bill back, takes the pen, runs the pen through the dollar bill, pulls the pen back out, dollar bill's whole.
What?
Now, I understand that this might be a trick pen or a trick dollar.
Or a trick magician.
But it still just blew my mind.
That's crazy.
And he goes, do you want to know how I did this? And I told him no.
You're a damn fool.
I like wondering how things work. I want to learn it myself. Sometimes I don't even want to know. I just like to enjoy the trick that's there.
Is that why all the money in your pocket has holes?
No.
Has
My
holes in it?
pocket has a hole. The money is fine.
The money falls through the hole,
Yeah.
and you don't have to worry about magic
Yeah,
anymore.
it looks like I'm pooping nickels most of the day.
This could also tie into why he steals so many pens.
He's been perfecting his craft. Waitresses, look out. Look out. This man is a pen thief. This caught me by surprise. I played a game, I would say, I don't know, a couple years ago on the Xbox 360. Name of the game was El Shaddai, Ascension of the Metatron. It was a pretty sweet game.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it got some rough reviews, but the game's amazing. The art style blew me away. It was basically about the Book of Enoch, and it's a journey through that book. It's really neat because it made me dig around to find out about the Book of Enoch, which was a whole other rabbit hole that we don't even have time for. But the artsiness of it, there's no HUD. So you're actually going through this not knowing what your health actually is. The only way to measure your health is to look at how much armor he's wearing, because you'd get in these battles and you'd lose pieces of armor.
Oh, nice.
And there are times when you'd just be completely nude, still fighting, right? And you'd make it past that. Now you have to earn your armor back. So now you have to fight and kill beasts and earn your pieces of armor back.
You can't go back and get your old stuff.
No, it's gone.
Oh, man.
And there's no such thing as leveling up or anything like that. It is as flat of an experience as you can get, and as true of an experience as you can get.
Can you get your old armor repaired? Like if you're wearing a busted up vest, it's done.
No. Well, after a time, the armor will heal.
Okay.
So you could have cracked armor or whatever, but you have no way of seeing that because there's no HUD.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really sweet. The further you get in the game, the more you progress. Actually, the more you progress, the better your armor looks. There are points where you were just this amazing creature and you are just laying waste. But you get in these boss battles in this game are true boss battles. I mean, you really feel it. There's the whole repetitive nature of a boss battle. I got to go down lower right hand side. He's going to shoot this thing, and then I move over here and he shoots the thing over there. It's old school gaming mixed with like this sweet art style. I wish I could get it for the PlayStation 4 because I'd love to replay it, and I traded in my 360 for a pack of gum. Is there anything you guys have played that is like that?
I don't think like that. No. I mean, it's not like a smaller known kind of like grabbed it out of nowhere. Like mine is a game that I was very much looking forward to. Already had the pre-order down and everything. I was going to purchase this game, but I just had reservations about it, and that was Final Fantasy X. Like I was just scared of the direction that they were taking it, and it was just like because they were taking quite a few steps beyond what they would normally do. They were adding so many more cinematics into it. They were adding the voice acting into it. And everything just looked more real world than like anime goofy style kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what to expect, and I was getting a little anxious about that one. And it's my favorite Final Fantasy.
Outstanding.
In Final Fantasy X, that was my first experience with really nice graphics, both gameplay and cinematic. There's a scene where the main character is blown off a ship. And he's floating down the water, and he washes up on the shore of a city.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember watching that cinematic going, okay, and then he's just laying there, and you're supposed to move him so he gets up and walks around. I left the controller on my leg for 15 minutes going, this is dead real life. This guy is not moving. He's dead.
Is somebody going to come check on me? Or?
The controller fell off my leg and hit the ground, and then he got up, and that's when I realized it was my turn to play.
That's outstanding. The reason being because the game I mentioned as well, funny playing off of this whole thing, is that you have no idea what you like. It starts the same way in a way. Like, am I supposed to take control of this character now? And you don't know until you move the stick. So those are always cool.
Remember on the PlayStation when the video was really sweet, and then it froze for a second, cut and then you were in gameplay.
Yeah. The cuts for the CG.
Yeah. This didn't happen in 10. And if it did, I don't remember it.
Right.
But it didn't happen, and that blew me away. Like CG right into the battle, and I was getting stomped on.
Yeah, it was super polished. Actually, it was a jump from 9 to 10 even. I mean, from 9 to 10, it was a jump on across the board.
Well, yeah, but to be fair though, 9 was on PlayStation, 10 was on PlayStation 2.
Right.
So they definitely had they definitely had the more
the
a little more power, a little more technology behind it, but
yeah, the graphic jump, it was very big.
But even the changes they did just with like the battle system,
yeah,
I love the soundtrack. Like everything about it just made me fall in love with it.
Luna. Luna.
Come on now.
Dude, you know what?
What?
When X2, did you play X2?
I call it 10-2, but go. Yeah, I did play it. I did.
I always say that. I called Samus Seamus last episode.
You
So
did.
I don't nobody need to listen to me. When you played X2 10-2.
Yes, sir.
Did you play that? Did you
did.
like that?
Not as much, but I did. I enjoyed it. It was still. What is going on? It was
Some
still,
keys just hit the floor.
It was still fun, and it was cool that it was only like the female cast.
Yeah.
But storyline wise and everything didn't quite fall on par with just 10. I don't think.
No. Well, it was a continuation in a way, right?
Right.
Have you guys ever like gone back to watching old PlayStation videos, like cutscenes and gameplay, like on YouTube?
They're atrocious.
Final Fantasy VIII.
Yep.
But I love it. I still love it. I love the ballroom dance scene. Final Fantasy VIII is.
Yeah.
I mean,
The opening scene with like the sword fight.
oh my God, the sword
Yeah.
fight in the beginning. I remember putting that in and just being flat out blown away
Yeah.
because playing anything else before that was. I mean, even Final Fantasy wise,
Yeah.
was nowhere near. It wasn't touching that.
No, I remember when these games come out and we were playing them and watching. We're like, oh my God, this is as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Now I go back to it. I'm like, is this really as good as it got?
Right. Sean, do you have a this surprised me piece of media?
Spec Ops: The Line.
Ooh.
I downloaded it for free on the PlayStation Network, and there was a lull at work, so I had just blocks of hours to play it. It ended up being a really, really good game for a running gunner, as they call them.
It was was it puzzling? Was it a puzzle game or?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
It was like Call of Duty without the good graphics or the first-person shooter.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're third person, right?
Yeah, what made the game amazing was the story that unfolded and then how it ended. You sat through all this.
Spoiler alert.
You sat through all this crap, like run and gun and defeat the boss. Get to where you need to go. Come to find out, your guy who is the leader of the three guys you're running around is insane.
Like Murdoch crazy or
No, like he's imagining these bad guys that are shooting people. He's imagining these people that have been hung by by villains.
right?
There's one part in the beginning where you're walking through this corridor because all these cars and buildings are set up. We're gonna let Josh eat.
We're
real quick.
gonna give this one moment of silence
Yeah.
to let Josh eat his pumpkin pound cake.
Your story was good. I just wanted to take a bite.
Oh my God!
So
Okay.
anyway, you're walking through this like barricaded area, and there's three bodies hanging from nooses. And the bad guy is telling you that these three people did something bad. You have to kill one to save the other two. Well, regardless of what your decision is, they end up all dying anyway. Get to the end of the game, they flash back to it. There's nobody hanging there.
What?
So your guy is imagining all this.
What?
And it shows the other two guys talking like, this guy's going nuts. What the hell is he doing? But you're the leader, so they're going to follow you into hell.
Wow.
Yeah, so you end up giving the choice of shooting yourself, finishing the game, or... I'm sorry, it was either killing yourself or just finishing the game. Then there was a little bit more after that. The backup comes and picks you up. And then you have the choice of going with them, or you can kill them all and stay in Dubai.
Holy smokes! So was there actually a bad guy at all?
No, you were the bad guy the whole time.
Whoa!
And all these choices you're making, none of them are good.
This is better than
That
the
is.
magic trick.
That's pretty sweet. And all I can picture is Sean just throwing down his controller, going, "Shut up!
Shut up.
Shut your face.
There's one part where you have to like mortar this entire village to get through this field of bad guys, which you find out actually aren't there. And you have no other choice. You can't just aim down and shoot them. You have to mortar them.
Wow.
So you make decisions like this, and you feel pretty shitty about this, the decisions you make through the game. Then you find out that you're doing this regardless anyway, and now you feel like an even worse human being.
Yeah, you feel like you've joined the dark side.
Yeah.
Sean's just playing, going, "I'm so sorry, but I'm the bad guy.
I'm sorry about this." One of my favorite properties, I guess you can call it a property, right? Would be Assassin's Creed. And just touching on maybe some things we'd like to see made into a movie. I know that it's in production in a way, or the story's been written. Yeah. That's really what I'm looking forward to as far as a piece of media being made into a movie.
You're just so much for the Assassin's Creed.
Wow.
I was going to use a different word, but I was holding back.
No, I'm hard for it. It's a great series. I mean, at first I was like, please don't let it be aliens. And then it was aliens. Spoiler alert. It was aliens. But no, the first civilization, the whole bit about the golden apple, the whole bit about people in high power, obviously corrupt and evil, speaks to the true nature of man and how power corrupts. But also that there's this war being fought in the shadows. I love the whole bit of it. The story of Assassin's Creed is like this layered onion, and every time you peel a layer, you're either supremely impressed or sadly disappointed when you have to run around and collect feathers.
And that is actually one that I feel like they could do a good job, making a tight storyline of all that they've kind of done and sum that up in like 1-2 hour movie. I feel like that would work well.
What would you guys think if it was like a series? Like 3-4 movies?
I'd probably like how I feel about the games, that it's just too much and dragging on at this point.
I'd feel the opposite. I'd love a series. I don't think a story like this, I think you could tell it in one 3-hour movie. But I also think you could Peter Jackson this bad boy and stretch it out and actually have good content. That's the thing. There's this whole deep thing. There's this layer on top, which is just what you see on your day-to-day, and there's this whole layer underneath with the first civilization, the whole, this enlightenment and assassins versus Templars and the moving it to the modern day. There's just so much there.
The only Assassin's Creed games I have beaten are 3 and Black Flag. All the other ones, have either of you beaten those?
I've finished all of the others but those.
I finished everything but 3.
With our powers combined, Sean.
we can make a half-decent movie.
No, we can summon Captain Planet, which is probably Josh's piece of media that he'd love to see made into a movie.
It's close.
Yeah.
It's close.
It's probably nowhere near it.
Would any of the other games make a good movie? Like where the game ended, would it make a good ending for a movie?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. And I feel like you could easily make the following film. Even some of these side ones like Liberation, you can make a movie just based on that. Look, they're making movies out of anything these days. I have never in my life seen anyone carry a dog on their shoulder.
Now, for those who don't know, we're recording in a conference room, so there's a window facing the main road. And what we just witnessed was a couple walking with their dog. Now, the dog wasn't on the ground on a leash. The dog wasn't like cradled on the guy's hip. The dog was being carried like a keg of beer up on his shoulder.
And the wife was holding the leash. I don't know. I've never seen that.
Who's walking who?
I've never seen.
The dog needed a break, man.
I guess so. But yes, I believe that you could take any number of these games. I think Ezio has the deepest storyline, and maybe because they like the character.
Yeah, because they put him in 17 games.
Oh my God, though, great games. Especially 2.
How many were Altair in?
Just one.
He made cameos in like Revelation.
Okay.
Yeah. But playing as like main character was just one.
But again, the whole bit, my parents being from the old country, they talk about these places over there, and I have no frame of reference. I play Assassin's Creed, the first one, and I know everybody kind of disliked it because you had to chase down flags or feathers or some menial task. But for me, I loved exploring those cities. Those were places my parents talked about. Climbing some of those buildings. I mean, there was a spell.
I was just gonna say that. Like, I've climbed that building in my game before.
Exactly. There was a spell there where I'd walk down the street and I would actually picture climbing that building because I would know what path to take if I had the strength. And there's a real life guy who they call him the real life Spider-Man who actually does this stuff without any safety equipment. But I think you could pull a story from Ezio and make 5 movies out of Ezio's life alone. Altair, again, being, kind of Ezio's ancestor, essentially. Right. He has his own story. He has a backstory that we only know a piece of. You could make a story out of that, too. You could make a movie out of those. Looks like here, just to briefly say that the project Michael Fassbender is attached to for Assassin's Creed, it has a release date of 2015. Not sure about that, but yeah, that seems like they might. I don't know. I haven't read anything recently that they were moving it back, but I believe that when I first heard the news, they were saying 2014.
If they aren't filming this now, it's not going to happen.
Or it'll be really bad. But it says here, in the description, it says a bartender is captured by a large corporation and is forced into a machine named the Animus, allowing him to relive the memories of his ancestors, most of whom are assassins, to retrieve the powerful and dangerous artifacts. That takes us, of course, to
the apple.
Correct. And we have from there Altair, you have Ezio, you have Kenway, you have the whole bit, all coming from
the apple.
the Apple.
We're just plugging Apple away again.
Yeah,
here.
yeah. We're just plugging Apple. Get your iPro 17 today.
You just sparked me.
Sorry. What piece of media would you like to see made into a movie, Josh?
Mine's pretty close to yours in that it keeps teetering on that it's going to happen. There's a director on board. It's written. This is a rumored cast.
Right.
And it just keeps falling. I believe the rights for it have actually reverted back to the writer, Brian K. Vaughan, and that's Why the Last Man. Have either of you guys read that?
No.
No, I had no idea.
Absolutely amazing series, but I don't want it to be a movie because it's I believe it was 60? I think it was 60 issues of a run, and that would be just way too much that you'd want to see come to life, just chopped right out just to make it, into a 2-hour movie. So
make it palatable by the masses.
I want to see it to be a Showtime or, preferably an HBO series and just do it justice that way.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
It would be, and I know how we all feel about it right now, so I hate drawing this comparison, but it would be in a Walking Dead type of continuation of just following these characters and this adventure that they go across. So yes.
Oh, I was just gonna say, you had mentioned a series. If I agree, I'm in the same boat as you. If a series were to be done, HBO, totally, it would be awesome.
Absolutely. That way they could make it whatever they want, and not have to worry about it censoring anything or any of that mess. But just so I can tell you about it real quick.
Yeah, because I'm not familiar with that.
It's basically it would be like a dystopian adventure. In that it starts off with the main character. I'm gonna guess his name is Yorick. It's spelled Yorick. Yorick is how I pronounced it.
Yorick, for I knew him well.
Going back to one of those things where you just read it, so you make up how it's pronounced.
Exactly, like Game of Thrones.
So essentially, it opens up with him being in his apartment, and he's got a brand new pet capuchin monkey named Ampersand, which is now one of my dreams.
That's where you get it from.
And just basically shortly thereafter, there is I believe it's just described as a plague that essentially wipes out anything existing for male mammals. It kills everything that's even sperm and just everything is just wiped out. So he is him and his monkey are the last 2 living male mammals, and it's just it's just really interesting following where the story goes. And he's trying to find his love was in Australia at the time that this hit, and so you essentially just go on this whole experience with him and trying to find her and also trying to find out, as it goes on, they try to figure out where this plague came from and all that.
He answered my question.
Spoiler alert. Did they ever find out why was the last man?
Why?
Why?
I don't know if this is one of the things that you would like or dislike about it, but they actually kind of left it open to interpretation. He basically has said, and they give you several really good explanations that you could go with, but he has said after it all, because they didn't really point it out, be like, yes, it was this, ABC. Here's your reasons.
Right.
He said, it's in the book. You have an answer, but you can pick anything that I laid out across the series and use that as your answer. He said, I didn't want to tell you. You can take what I've given you.
Speaking of the writer.
And you can run with that. He said, I may have dropped something just in the background somewhere in issue 3 that may have been the answer, or maybe it was the conversation that they had about this plague being created all the way towards the end of the series.
So essentially, he also has no idea.
He said that he knows. He says he knows.
Oh, he knows.
And that he was going to just spell it out, but he said by the time that he got to the end, he just changed his mind.
He decided maybe it might have poisoned the story as it stood.
Which I don't mind. I love stuff like that. I love stuff being a little ambiguous.
Yeah, I don't mind it. 12 Monkeys was kind of like that.
I love 12 Monkeys.
Exactly.
This story has a monkey.
And he's a Capuchin, so he loves Jesus. Go ahead, Sean.
My piece of media, and actually would be a better miniseries than a TV show or a movie, would be the recently read graphic novel that I recently read.
I love how you put that.
I was going somewhere with that. Day Tripper. It's a graphic novel I recently read, and it would make a better miniseries than a TV show or movie. Simply because, spoiler alert, the guy dies at the end of every chapter.
So it could be like an episode.
Yeah. It would be an episode done.
Like a Groundhog Day type of thing?
No, it's yours. You explain it.
Crap.
Do you want me to explain it?
You know it better than I do. I read it for the first time this last couple of weeks.
I've only read it once as well, but basically each story is like a major moment in this character's life of like, this would be like his birthday, on this date, tells a story. At the end of it, he dies. And then here's this like big moment in his life of when he was like 5 years old. And then at the end of it, like he dies. Here's like the birth of his child and, the marriage to his wife. And it's like all of these key moments in his life. But the twist on the end of it is just like, okay, what if this was the day that he died?
That's outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the end of it, just kind of wraps up what the whole point of it is, and it's all just about love and friendship and family and death, and it hits you pretty deep.
The things that actually matter.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's really the point.
The one story that really got me the most in that entire book, and all of them were pretty good, was his friend just disappeared. He ran off and nobody heard from him, and he gets a postcard from him like months or years later or whatever it is. Goes down to get the friend. The friend lost his... I'm starting to see that my theme, the things I like, are people going insane.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because, again...
And
magic and insanity. The friend loses his mind, and he's just like staying in this rundown hut on an island. And the main character goes in. He's like, oh, hey, let's take you home. And the best friend ends up stabbing him and then killing himself. Yeah, it was different because all the other stories leading up to that was you knew the moment when things were going good, he was going to bite it.
Really?
This was just bad from the word go.
Came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
No way. Well, I think I think that's actually really fascinating because I always talk about things or the past and say that was a lifetime ago. I say that all the time. I really feel like we go through ages. I think we do die in our old selves and are renewed constantly. That's really cool story. I'll have to check that out.
I will let you borrow it, sir.
Can I borrow that?
You may.
I may never return it. Can I still borrow it?
I'm still gonna let you borrow it.
I still have
Christ. Reaper. You still has Reaper. You're never getting Reaper back.
No.
Don't fear the Reaper because you'll never get it back.
That's fine.
So when he
I've
dies,
made peace.
when he dies, is it? I mean, it's explained how he actually perishes in each situation.
Yeah, you witness his death in every occasion.
And they do a really sweet, like the main thing was his dad was a big writer and he was a writer. If I remember correctly, he was a obituary writer.
Correct.
And every story that ended when his life ended was written in the way an obituary would be written. Now, I
Wow.
couldn't pronounce this guy's name to save the life of me, so I'm just going to call him John Smith. It would say, like, John Smith lived a great life up until August 1st, 2014, when he was struck by a car.
Nude in the
And-
street.
In the street, laying down.
Flashback humor.
Yep.
We like doing that. That is really cool.
It's an amazing. Yeah, it's an amazing. I
Day
thank you.
tripper.
That kind of
Yeah.
that means a lot to me that you picked that.
And even as predictable as it is, you still
hates
keep
him.
reading because, one, you don't know how it's going to happen. I mean, some stories are like 2 pages long. Others go for like 10, 15, and you're like, okay, when's this guy going to die?
Because you're at this point, you're looking forward to the renewal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and it's not like, oh, he's 21 here, he's 22 here. It's like he's 14, and then all of a sudden he's 40.
See, I would
Oh.
I would like sweat reading. Like, I would get like anxious. Like I wasn't just like kind of like, oh man, how's he gonna? I was just like, oh man, no, don't do it on this day.
The
Like,
one that really touched me was the kid.
Yeah,
Remember that one?
it was brutal.
Don't
Yeah. Let's not.
spoil that.
Let's not.
Noah, not spoiler alert. For
Not
what's in this show.
spoiler
Yeah,
alert.
good enough description of the book. I feel like we have teased Mikey enough. We may have teased our audience enough. Everyone go and look into everything we just brought
Yeah,
up.
you guys need to check out El Shaddai
Yeah.
and
Why the Last Man?
Day Tripper.
sweet. But as we touched on the spoiler alerts, we had a few of them in the show. How do you guys handle situations where somebody's about to spoil something you really want to see?
I just slap them right across the mouth.
That is
And
not
they're
an
gonna be
improper
like, Dude, I was
response.
going to tell you that dinner was in the fridge. And I'm like, oh.
Right, that is not an improper
Spoiler
response.
alert, I wanted to know where my dinner was.
Right, yeah.
Let me find out.
What if everything you ever said had to be said with spoiler alert first?
Spoiler alert, I tied my shoes.
Boom. Everyone's mind is blown.
M. Night Shyamalan twist, I'm wearing sandals.
Shyamalan. So what would you do, Josh? How do you actually handle those types of situations?
Meaning if someone actually spoils something for me? Or
Well, no. Say someone is like leading into it. How would you handle that?
walk
How would-
away?
Would you pump the brakes on it? Or?
Absolutely. I would ask to just please do not say anything else. If you feel the need to, I will leave because I just utterly despise even the smallest things. Like I can deal with like so and so is going to direct this. Here's your cast. Here's like a brief synopsis of like the movie or like whatever we're talking about. But anything that is going to just take away from my experience fully enjoying and absorbing it, I don't want to know.
My spoiler experiences actually have a time limit. If I haven't seen the newest release that's supposed to be the hottest thing ever in like 90 days, go ahead and spoil it for me. That's my fault. I didn't watch it in the theaters. I didn't download it. Not that I do that. Anything like that, that's my fault. Go ahead and spoil it for me. I know people that will get frustrated because I spoiled a movie from 2002 because they have never seen it. There should be a time limit on this stuff.
Yeah, I'm talking mostly something new, something current. I'll agree with that. Yeah, something that's 10
Like
years old.
If
Yeah,
John
okay.
Wick comes out on
10
Friday,
years old.
if John Wick comes out on Friday and you guys are talking about it Sunday night, then I'm going to get a little miffed because I really want to see that movie. If it comes out Friday and you guys are talking about it in April and I haven't seen it, that's my fault. Go ahead and talk.
And really now with just, spoilers, it's not even that part of the conversation of just like, okay, something is already out and somebody went to see it and they're talking about it. I'm talking like even in advance, like for example, talking about like Star Wars Episode 7 spoilers now. Like I don't want to hear that stuff. I want to enjoy it myself.
Yeah, I agree. But on the whole bit of having time, like you have this invisible line of time where that's like an organic thing too, because you're like, It's been a few weeks. I'm okay with listening to spoilers. Like, I will say, I did not see Guardians of the Galaxy in theaters, and it was it was one of the movies I really wanted to see in theaters because I knew somehow intuitively that I would really enjoy it.
You would.
And it sucks that I didn't get to go. But I've been inundated with spoilers ever since it came out. I've had to swallow some heavy pills and live a life I didn't want to live because I haven't seen that movie. But, yeah, it's hard to tell somebody to stop in the middle of them being so excited. So for me, it's a tough choice. I want to tell someone to not ruin something for me, and at the same point in time, I want to share in their excitement. So
I will say this: even some movies, I don't even. If you spoil it for me, that's fine, because it's the experience of the movie itself. Like Fault in Our Stars. You knew how it ended.
Oh, you know what?
I mean, you went into it. You knew it. People were talking about it. It still ruined me as a human being.
You knew that it was going to go in that direction, but you didn't know that it was going to be the dude that died.
Not at all.
So that could have been a spoiler.
But people were talking about it up until then, because I didn't see it until like the week after it got released. So people were talking about it, and they're like, "Oh, he dies," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, he dies, but where's the meat and potatoes of it?"
Yeah. Who cares?
Yeah.
Some dude died of some things. Well,
watched-
I actually agree with you 100% because there are times and there are movies where someone will say something which would be spoiler for maybe anybody else. And then at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but there's all this stuff that they probably missed telling me about that I'm going to enjoy when I watch it. So, yeah, it's how about getting a movie ruined for you at the theater? So I went to see The Sixth Sense, M. Night Shyamalan's masterpiece about Bruce Willis's abs. I went to see that.
Oh, the only masterpiece.
Oh, man. Well, I like The Village, so you're not going to take me off that train. But
You were one of the 2 stars?
I was one of, yes.
Of the thousands of people that seen it, you're one of the 2 that
I
liked
gave
it.
The Village 1 star because I didn't want them to be like Good Charlotte. I didn't want them to sell out. So, but no, I was in the movie watching The Sixth Sense, and I had a whole row of people, maybe 3 rows in front of me, and I purposely avoided anything about this movie because I knew there was just something big about it because everyone was talking about this amazing film. Yeah. This lady said, "Oh, no, he did!" Like right when the moment where you were supposed to realize that Bruce Willis was dead, she said, "Oh, no, he dead."
And you're like, no, don't say that.
Yeah. As soon as she said it, I was like, "Is he?" Oh God! I had this like terrible moment at that time. I sucks.
I feel like she just enhanced your experience because now you have a story to tell.
Incorrect. She also was holding a Philly cheesesteak sandwich wrapped in aluminum foil. Which who comes to the movies? And by the way, it lasted the entire movie. Every few seconds, she would peel more aluminum foil. I don't know if it was the endless sandwich or what.
Hey man, check out my little apple loaf here. That's what you got to do. You make it last.
You are unbelievable with that
No,
damn thing.
I'm taking a bite right
Look,
now.
it's got wires coming out of it.
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh wait, that's pubes.
Aw.
That's what you get when you eat vegan apple loaf.
Is that
So
made out of
good.
genuine vegan, or is that what is that made out of?
It's a vegan apple.
Josh has a
spice.
Facebook page you need to follow, like wholeheartedly.
Wholeheartedly.
I do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Mike found this one, so I'm going to let him tell you about it. And I've actually posted a few of their posts, and people that I know that
You guys-
have followed it through me.
You guys poking fun at me?
In a minute, we will be.
It's called Christians Against Vegetarians and Vegans.
I've seen this.
Oh yeah, you've seen it. You've seen it because some of their posts are hilarious, and it's been making the rounds.
Is the newest one about being a vegan leading to drug addiction on
It
there?
says the road to addiction, veganism. Did you know that most satanic vegans are addicted to heroin? Without the joy of Jesus Christ and red meat in their lives, they almost always turn to hard drugs. #fact, #truth. Now, that's not even as funny as some of their more hilarious posts.
The best ones are not the posts themselves, but the people that engage in
The comments are so priceless.
Yeah.
I think 90% of the hilarity from any comedy page is in the comments.
This is like tongue in cheek though, right? This isn't like
Oh my God.
Assumedly.
No,
okay.
there
The
are
way-
people who actually I shared one that said I don't even remember the one I shared, but people were in the comments section, people who know me well, asking me if I was serious. Literally, like, are you serious?
You're like, you read it, right? What do you mean?
Yeah,
It's
no,
so-
they don't. Satire is.
It's so outlandish. It's so outlandish that you begin to think this is satire. I think.
Yeah, and they even have their cover page says, "What would Jesus eat?"
Wow.
Okay, and no, the page is great. You definitely need to click like on that page.
Roger that.
Going back to what Mike was talking about, people ruining the movie for you during the movie. My sister-in-law did that for her kids when they were watching the first Saw. She walked into the room, saw what they were watching, and went, "Oh, that guy in the middle is alive."
Oh, come on!
And I was like, "No, why did you do it?" Because I already knew what happened. I was just watching it with them. And sure enough, he gets up in the end, and my nephews were just brokenhearted because they were so excited about what could this possibly be going on. That Jigsaw gets up in the middle and walks out. They're like, "Oh."
I feel like there was a time maybe that people were doing this on purpose.
Yeah, like the whole Harry Potter thing.
What?
Oh, yeah, when
Someone ruined the
Dumbledore
Harry
dies.
Potter.
Yeah, book 6 when Dumbledore dies, people bought the
Dumbledore
book
dies?
at like midnight
Yeah.
and like skipped to the end just to get to that part, and then like drove around while other people were still waiting in line to buy the book and were just screaming the end to people.
That's awful.
They made shirts and stuff that said Dumbledore dies on page like 605 or whatever page it was
They
on.
even gave him the damn page number.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
People are rude.
people are. I can't believe that people would do something like that. But why see someone else happy when you can crush their hopes and dreams?
Right.
So,
Misery loves company.
well, thank you for listening to another episode of Tales from the Void. We've been your illuminating hosts,
Sean, now excuse me while I go take a poop.
I'm Josh. Thank you for listening, everyone.
and I'm Mike. And I just wanted to give a shout out to our comrades over at the One Up Cast. You can follow them on Facebook and Twitter at One Up Cast, and also visit their new fancy website, oneup-cup.com. And remember to visit our sponsors, Detroit Grooming Co. for all your gentlemanly needs. You can find them at detroitgrooming.com, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And also Cellar Door Soap and Skin. You can find them at cellardoorsoapandskin.com, and also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Cellar Door Soap. Thank you, everybody, and good night.